I'm enjoying too much meeting each one of you, so I keep forgetting to begin. So, good evening. There's one subject I keep returning to. I think statistically it's something like once a year. It is one of the subjects that are the closest to my heart. And you seem to come to this one time this year. Welcome. Luckily, it's something that is relevant to all of us. And strangely, I'm not going to talk this evening about something. It's not going to be a subject we're not going to talk about, but we're going to directly address the very way, the very quality of your listening right now. Because we can talk about countless things. We can talk about God, and we can talk about reality and light and love and unity and freedom from thoughts and so on, but it's very important to at least sometimes ask, but how do I listen? Am I listening in a way that I can actually receive? Am I listening in a way that can really bring me to an understanding? What is the state of my mind when I'm at all meeting something? So today our meditation is on the way we listen to our meditation. And to a certain degree, if this something I like to say about this subject, if you understand how to listen, if you understand listening, you will never need a teacher for the rest of your life. Because as soon as you have this type of listening, you become a master to yourself. Your way of meeting reality, your way of meeting life, not only spiritual truth, but also conflicts and challenges and everyday problems and relationships. You no longer have anything between you and your life, and therefore you can understand your life by yourself. So I know this is a bit of an awkward type of meeting, because everything I'm going to say is only pointing out the state of your mind right now, but if you let this happen, you may find out that something is happening in the way you listen, in the way you receive. So before we are at all going to talk about it, let's just tune in with a brief meditation. And for that, we will close our eyes. Take one deep breath. And breathe slowly and deeply, letting our body relax more and more with every breath we take. And let's feel how our attention is just like a torch. We turn on this torch, on anything we want to give our attention to. If there is right now a thought that really interests us, that means that we've put our torch of attention. We gave it light, and now it's at the center of our attention. If you put now your attention on the distant singing of the birds, you will hear that. If you move away the torch, you will not even notice them. They will become an unconscious background. Every day we put our attention on a selected number of thoughts, emotions, situations, memories. And then they become real for us. We make them real through our attention. But now for some time, put your attention on nothing. Feel how you're not focusing on one thing, but rather allowing your attention to spread in the room. Feel how your attention has no one focal point. And that instead it spreads without edge. If there are thoughts or emotions, just gently return to attention. And feel how when you don't keep it focused, it can slowly move away from the area of the brain. And instead, begin to flow towards the entire parts of the body, from head to toe. It's like you're aware without nothing to be aware of. You're awake without a focus. The attention reaches your fingertips, your toes. Perhaps it even becomes bigger than the body. So keep your attention wide open and slowly and gently come out of the meditation. And feel how you can remain open. We have very little chance in our daily life to really listen. And this is what we want to talk about now. You can call it the art of listening, because it is an art. It is when you make your mind so beautiful, so pure, that it's almost like a form of inner poetry. Of course, just like you saw in our meditation, very rarely we are without focus. All day long, we narrow down our attention, right? Like we need to put our attention, literally, to focus on certain things. And even when we don't have to focus on certain things, we are still already conditioned to focus. So then we are focused on certain thoughts, emotions, certain obsessive desires, wants, wishes, certain memories. And because we give them so much attention and we focus on them, remember how we describe it, that your attention is so powerful that whatever you turn its energy to becomes real. That's magic. Nobody can take this away from you. It's the greatest power in the universe. Your decision, what you want to make your reality. If a certain emotion comes to me and I don't put attention on it, I don't give my reality bestowing or reality giving energy, it is not real, and therefore it has no power, absolutely no power. There is no such thing as the emotion got a hold of me. The emotion took over. What could I do? It was too strong. It was too powerful. There is no such thing. We don't believe it, of course, because we give these things so much attention. Eventually, they become so real that they are stronger than us. They gain a certain momentum, and then even if we say, okay, I don't give it a reality, I'm detaching myself, you've lost already, because you gave it the power to win too many times. Now you need to slowly reverse the momentum. So nothing has power in us, no thought, no emotion, no problem, no memory, unless we begin to focus. It is the light of our attention that makes the thing real, powerful. If you learn this basic truth, there is absolutely never in your life any emotion or thought that can take over, that can make you feel powerless. So we put our attention every day on certain things. Then it becomes so fixed until eventually all of our mind is just made of reactions. It's because we accumulate, we store so many things in us. So many thoughts, so many emotions we identify with, that whatever comes our way, we react from these things. We react from these emotions, we react from these thoughts. And we slowly lose the gap between our attention to anything. This is where we reach the internal reality of the like button of social media. You know this button? No? It's it's this immediate reaction to something that either confirms or disagrees with what we already know. Very little can surprise us. We come with our mind already so rigid, so fixed, that this is where listening becomes almost impossible. We don't even remember what it feels like, because as soon as we put our attention on something, we already have the reaction together with it. We don't have a gap. We don't have a space in which we just hold something in our mind, in our pure mind. And really penetrate us. Will really let it work in us in a way where we want so much to experience, we want so much to feel, but we are pushing away everything. Do you understand? It's like we're so quick to summarize, to interpret, to conclude, to say something, to voice opinion, to have an immediate feeling that we already know. This is basically how the ego is created. When we become just a bundle of reactions. You know, I don't know if you watch some people when they age. Some people, when they age, they become really beautiful because they are less reactive. They have more space. They become more receptive. How many do you know like this? Yeah, I guess so, because I'm also watching people, and as we age, actually the aging process is not the aging of our body, because somebody with 8 years old can be completely young, and somebody who is 20 years old can be so old, almost dying. So what is the difference? What makes us young is when we don't shoot at everything our already formed reaction. That's it. Very simple. And when we are old, it's like we are so rigid, so locked, that we just spit our already consolidated world. We react even before we hear the end of the sentence, because we already know. Reality cannot surprise us. And this is how everything becomes dull. You see, the singing of the birds becomes a distant background. The faces of people become so taken for granted. Sometimes poets have this, but they only have this because when you get to meet poets, usually they're not so amazing as when they are in their general daily state, daily routine. But when they write, they do catch this glimpse of listening. They were there. For a moment, they allowed the gap. And in the gap between listening and reaction, the whole of life exists. It's like the whole of life's mystery, the whole of life's beauty, the whole of life's unfathomable secrets. They are in this gap when you don't hurry. The funniest thing could be when our minds they're listening to a talk about listening, and they subtly think, yes, I already know about listening. Right? Yeah. We collect all kinds of memories, experiences, knowledge about listening, quotes, statements, and we say, yes, that's familiar, and we approve, and we say, yes, I agree. Listening is very important, and this is exactly what we're talking about. Because when we are in this state, we basically don't listen, we hear things. And we can hear many things. We hear endless things all day long. All kinds of input. But we rarely feel into something. Rarely do our minds stop. And move to one billionth of a second before reaction. And just contain something. With no conclusion, no tagging, no categorization. Not even the immediate emotion, not even a wonderful emotion or a terrible emotion. And this is not some kind of a cold, detached state. So that's why I'm not talking tonight about silence. Because silence is too often understood as a different world, as a separate world, a world over there or deep in there. But listening is all the time, and it is a quality of the mind that appears when we choose to not react. Now, what happens when you don't react at all? If you really listen to what I just say now, what happens? In a way, there is no more you. At least not the you that you know of. Because you are the reaction. You know yourself through the past, the opinion, what you already know. But a mind without reaction immediately has no memory, no history. It starts here and now. And there is absolutely no difference between listening to the cars or listening to thoughts, listening to some challenge you are in right now, listening to somebody speak, like just now. We spend so much energy in reaction that if we took the whole of the reactive energy of the planet, we could, I think, just by mere mental intention, we could move our planet to another galaxy. Just think of how much energy you waste not only on external, explicit reactions, but on internal reactions. We even watch people on the street and we immediately react, we immediately categorize, everything is so quick, like, dislike, and everything is described, interpreted, named. And when we have a challenge, we face a challenge, we become so hysterical. We are so filled with thoughts and emotions and trying to push away, trying to do something, trying to decide, doubting, and so on and so on. We're not even meeting with the challenge, you see. We don't listen. We don't just stay there to contain, to hold a situation and to let not a reaction come, but a response. A response is something so different from reaction. It's the natural outcome of listening. It requires no mental effort, no emotional reaction. You just listen fully with all your energy. All the energy that you wasted on reaction now is used for just attention. You look at the situation. Looking at the situation makes you so intelligent that you can't believe. It's like because you are one with the situation. You don't have a distance. You feel into it. You let it penetrate you. It shapes you. And then out of this very intimate state, you know what to do, or you know what to say, or you know what to create. And because reaction, please understand, makes us pretty unintelligent. Reactive people think they are so intelligent, you see. Because they always have something to say, and it's always sophisticated, and they know what to quote in the right time, and to tell the right story. But really, the process of reaction dulls our brain. It makes us so silly, because we become like circles. We are moving within our own circle. That it's no wonder that at a certain point we even get bored of ourselves, you see, because it's like living with the same guy, same chattering, talkative person that always talks in your ear, the same story, the same reaction, the same emotion. It's like, and of course we don't know how to get rid of this guy because we created it with so much power, so much attention, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, that it's a monster that would never shut up. Now, if you come to such a meeting, for example, or read a book about I don't know, spiritual truth, and you only hear and not listen, what happens is that you can go to 1,000 satsangs, and read 1,000 spiritual books, but nothing can really penetrate, nothing can really shake your system. Because to contain a spiritual truth, to let it change you, you must, even for one single second, not interfere. Which means that whatever, for example, is spoken here, there is no distance between you and that. And if there is no distance, something really extraordinary happens. Whatever I talk about, you become. And we're not talking about brainwash. because otherwise it means that even the singing of the birds brainwashes us, you see. I'm not saying that what I say is particularly amazing, that you must become one with it. I'm saying that the whole world, the life is so amazing that you need to learn how to listen to it in such a wonderful way that there is no more barrier between you and life. The listening of the birds then takes place inside you. Because there is no distance. As long as I think that I'm listening to something, something enters, something comes out, this is only the result of reactivity. If I'm reacting, that it means I get input, I react. But when there is no reaction, even for a moment, a blessed moment of pure listening, there is not even an inner and an outer. Try this, play with this. And especially when reaction is comes so readily from you. And of course you will ask me, but what happens when the reaction takes place so automatically? Then just don't react to the reaction. Don't complicate it. Don't add to it. But just listen to it too. Listen, pay attention. Oh, now the mind reacts. The past reacting, pretending it's a response. Here it is again, doing its thing, moving in its own circle without criticism, because listening never criticizes. It just feels into something. When a so-called decision needs to be made. Determine not to make a decision. I never make decisions. Making decision is one of the most ridiculous efforts in human life to a human mind. It is not natural. How can I make a decision? There are always, pros and cons. There's always something to doubt. I can always consider and reconsider and change my mind and so on and so on. And so why bother? I know, of course, that a next step needs to happen. I'm aware of it. I'm aware of this dance with reality that challenges me, that calls me to enter and to make my step. But when we really take a look at the process that we call making a decision, it's no more than a form of hysteria. It's such an agitated state, conflicted, contradictory. So instead, I'm just letting the feeling of the next step in, sensing it, also enjoying the not knowing, enjoying not to hurry up, you see, because we are rushed, as if we are on a marathon. We're always expected to know already. And how would you know? How would you know? But if you listen, if you just put your attention, you learn the situation, you see it, you feel it. At a certain point, you just know. Why? Because it comes out of the situation itself. It comes out of your dance with reality. It just listening eventually dispersed the clouds, and suddenly there is a bright day, and you see when you make your step. And if you're afraid that when you are without reaction, then you will not know how to act, and you will become clumsy and so on. The truth is actually the opposite. That without reaction, you only act. Do you understand? It's like when there is no reaction, there's only action. Action that comes out of listening. So what happens right now? check. I promised you, this is a talk about you. What is the quality of your mind? If you really fall, what you discover is that our mind reaches a very interesting state. It's something just in between complete silence and wakefulness. It is awake, it's vibrant, it's full of energy, because it's all the attention without waste. But it is also silent, immovable, because it doesn't move so much. And when you are so wakeful, you are so attentive, you notice so many things because your attention is wide open. It's not just focusing constantly on specific thoughts, specific emotions, specific reactions. Then you go to sleep exhausted. So much inner work that it overshadows the actual efforts we make in life. We work so hard internally. We do so much. And instead we can take all this energy back into ourselves. And if you let that happen more and more, at a certain point you discover that the listener is gone. And that there is no more boundary. Someone that takes it in, categorizes it, puts it in some shelf, or puts out from a shelf something. So let's see if there are questions. Questions that come as a response to this talk. Yes, please.
That sounds great.
But
I'm rhetorical, coach, so I say and.
Yes.
No, just kidding. It sounds so free. And I'm asking myself, how do I travel through life in this modus? Like when somebody asks me, what are you going to do in 2 months? How do I, and I'm in the state, and I'm here now. I like this acting, not reacting, and being and doing, and making decisions by doing in the moment. But how do I act with other people when they ask me about my plans?
Do you mean if they ask you a technical question? If somebody, let's say I walk on the street and somebody asks me, excuse me, where's the train station?
No, it's easy, no.
Okay.
When somebody asks me, are you going to the retreat in August?
Okay.
For example.
Yes. So, a more meaningful question, you mean? Not technical.
No, like a question, where I would have to make a decision.
Ah, that's different, yes. Okay. So, you mean a question when I ask you something and that you don't know yet, right?
Yes, or I would have to decide.
Mm-hmm.
It's not now. It's not now. It's in the future, which doesn't exist. So I don't get that together.
And you don't know yet.
And I don't know. Or do I go back on my job or whatever?
Yes.
And I don't know yet.
Yeah. Think of it as if even if you don't share that out loud, because that could be very awkward, the first response that we have to anything starts with is the answer, I don't know. And then you say something. For example, if you ask me a question, I've been talking for almost 20 years. I have every answer prepared, technically speaking, for any question that I'm going to be asked, right? It's like after you answer tens of thousands of questions, most of them repeat themselves because, we share the same confusions and we share the same clarity. Then I could just spit on you my answers because I already know. Then I'm the knower and you are the questioners, and like a machine, you put some €1 inside and then it spits out the answer. But first of all, then that means that I'm going to be really bored, right? Because I already know. And second, that is not the way to respond. The real way is that when a question is turned toward me, my mind immediately drops the reactions, you see? There is a question, the question comes to me, and it is held inside my mind. That's it. The first answer inside me, even if I don't pronounce it, is I don't know. I have no idea. How would I know? How would I know to answer any of your questions? How could I? And then from this state, usually an answer comes. And it is always fresh and exciting when it comes, because it's a real, what we can call dialogue. Do you understand? That's why, by the way, one of my favorite things in life is the process of questions and answers, because it's so creative and unexpected that I'm basically listening together with you. And there is no division, there is no someone sitting here well prepared, the knowable one, the wise one, you know. This is what we can call real spontaneity. Spontaneity is that, you know, people say, oh, I'm very spontaneous. Like, you know, people who, I don't know, they can decide at any given moment to go to a cafe. Like, yeah, let's do it spontaneously. And then they say, yeah, I'm a very spontaneous guy. Of course, you know, that's not really spontaneity. Spontaneity is a state when you can surprise yourself with your own responses. It's when you really meet people and you don't know what's going to happen, when you don't control and carefully navigate with your already knowing gestures, already knowing quotes, the correct sentences. So that's why when you ask me, what do I answer? What do I answer is, how would I know, you see? Because you will answer every time at that moment to the moment. I can, of course, you know, because our minds are sometimes, you know, they are starving for security. Then we ask teachers, can you give me one mantra, one sentence, one way to respond to everything? And then they think this is, people think this is enlightening, but this is not enlightening. This is actually conditioning. It means that now you have a constant reaction that is so-called enlightened, you see? But it's not enlightened, it's dull. It's robotic. So the first answer is I don't know. Until I know. That's it. Now, does it make you less perfectly social? Yes.
Yes.
Definitely, because social relations are based on just shooting at each other, our personalities. This is the nature, and if we basically are meant to polish and to perfect our personalities to such a degree that we will not feel embarrassed socially. You see, and what does it mean not to feel embarrassed socially? It means to be so rigid that nothing can surprise or shake you. Do you understand? This is what we call social adaptability, social command. I'm so fluent and eloquent that now nothing can surprise me. I know already how to respond to anything because I'm already sophisticated. Now, truth has nothing to do with sophistication. Of course, we all have our natural gestures, you see. We all have some natural gestures. It's not like here we can be perfectly in the unknown, but if we are these gestures, then we're not even conscious while in social interaction. Do you understand? We're not there. It's just our personality is on automatic pilot. So if it makes you a bit awkward, more silent, sometimes allowing an unexpected space to open, sometimes saying not the perfect sentence at every given moment, so be it. What? We are meant to always play the game, condition ourselves to be what people expect from us. Here, I'm now also socially awkward. All the time, these silences in between sentences, right? What's wrong with this guy? Why can't he just speak like normal people? What is this lecture? So, yeah. Any other question, please? Yes.
First of all, I want to share that I find it very relieving not needing to know what I have to do the next days. I felt a big relief in my system. And I could feel that it relaxes my sixth chakra. And I can also feel my third chakra responding. Now I'm wondering how this real listening is also connected to heart opening. And if it's not something like the shortcut even to allowing heart opening, because it's being really curious to the moment and really seeing things.
So you're asking, can listening open our heart, right? In a way that is direct and quick.
Maybe also in terms of, it feels like more like something awakening the sixth chakra. If awakening the fourth chakra is a completely different part, or if it's basically the same.
First of all, I would say that listening, if anything, opens up all chakras, you see. It's, please understand, listening is essentially who we are. What we are is essentially is first of all a pure mind. When I say mind, I don't talk about this. Sometimes I notice that when I speak of mind, people think that I'm talking about this. But mind is the whole of us. Mind is attention. It's awareness. It's the whole consciousness that is from head to toe, that encompasses the entire body, and that is only mistakenly stuck here because it is so focused. We narrow down the mind into this area, you see? It doesn't have to be stuck here. And then when we say mind and heart and body and so on, to listening there is no such a differentiation. Because it's a complete state, indivisible, of openness. And it's like every pore of your body even becomes an ear. Do you understand? It's like everything becomes an ear. You know, I don't know if you do you have it in German? In Hebrew there is an idiom that says I'm all ear. Does it exist in German? Yes, I'm all ear. So everyone knows it. Yeah, everyone heard about it. But just never listened. I'm all ear means that I'm not listening only from here. I'm not opening just mentally. I am a complete state of open listening. I'm full receptivity. There is no resistance. I'm not putting barrier. Sometimes this happens to people when they unite with music. Because with music that we love, we agree to remove our filters often. And then we let the music penetrate our entire body. It's like there is no separation. The music is beating inside us. We become the music. So everything opens up. With listening, you realize that your body is not so dense and material as you thought it. It's actually everything is transparent. It's like a bird singing. It's inside you. Somebody speaks and there is no barrier. Were you trying to ask a question?
Yeah, I sometimes when you talk about music,
yes,
that's something that music penetrates me, and
yes,
I don't have the feeling to be listening.
yes. Mm-hmm.
There's no intention for listening. It just enters. And it's the same with words sometimes in poetry.
With?
With poetry. It just enters and I want to understand why and then the whole thing is messed up.
Messed up? What?
Yeah, when I try to understand
Ah, yeah.
just
Yes.
being open and letting it enter.
Yeah, we're trying to capture it and
Yeah.
everything gets messed up, of course. Yes, because we're trying to focus. It's like, something opens up and then our small part, a little bit greedy, wants to grasp the state, and then we focus, we make it into something. And that's where we lose the extraordinary feeling of being ourselves. The reason it happens to you in poetry and in music is because you are willing to let yourself be penetrated, because you trust their beauty, you trust their worth, you trust these energies, and then you are willing to dissolve. You are willing to be filled with their beauty. And when this happens, these are not experiences, these are reminders. These are pointers, they point at you. They say, this is the nature of your mind. This is how far you can let life in. That's why I started by saying that listening is a state of inner poetry. It's so poetic because it lucidly allows the moment to enter. And when you allow with such depth, you need very little. Because we are dull, because we are so reactive, we all day long consume information, data, stimulation. But because we only react, we remain hungry. What we crave so much is to feel deeply, but we push away. Do you understand? By saying about something, this is nice. The lecture was very good. I enjoyed it very much. It was very interesting. Things like that. It's like not being in the lecture. You see, it's only hearing. It's only a part of us is present, registering, agreeing. If we agree more than we disagree, if we are stimulated a bit, we call it enjoyable or wonderful even. But when you listen, the whole world stops. There is no time. And everything slows down. every sentence, every musical beat, every impression shapes us, changes us. Of course, you cannot necessarily at the beginning do it all day long. Because at the beginning, until we need to reach a state in which we become one with listening. And then when you become one with listening, it doesn't matter anymore if you react, if you respond, if you... it's just because this is what you are. But until then, even pausing every now and then for a few minutes to not give names to things, not to categorize, not to push away something that really makes our life, brings into our life the fragrance of something sacred. Any last question? Yes, please.
So, what would you suggest? I sometimes when it's not easy for me in the city, but when I'm outside in nature and I get more close to this nature being of my mind and close to myself, and I can really like dive into it, and when I come back into the city I sometimes get scared of this because it's yeah, I'm scared of losing the control, and I don't really know how to answer this question now, but it's so big and so wow that I get scared sometimes.
What might happen?
I realize more and more that the life I'm in now is not real. So it feels like, I don't know, probably just that I get to know myself, like the real.
You mean that you feel that the life in the city is a life that is not you?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, yeah.
Hmm?
Or that I realize more and more it's a mask I'm mind, I realized that everything around me is just a mask. And then I'm unfolding more and more. And And this fear is like I put this fear between me, so I can't go there.
Yes. There is a great power in being faithful to our own nature in the city. It's wonderful that nature reminds us. Nature reflects our own nature. That's why it's called nature, right? When we say our true nature. Because nature reflects listening without reaction. It reflects a space without naming, without categorization, a space that captures itself as wholeness, that declares itself as wholeness, that is wholeness. But then the real power is to be in our own nature in the noisiest of cities. It doesn't mean that we have to live in the city. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if we are intimidated by human thought and by masks, it's only because it still reflects something in us that must be reflected, you see? It must be challenged. It must be that we see how we ourselves are still conditioned. You see, because if you are not conditioned, there is no city. There is only nature. For me, I walk in the jungle. I see monkeys and sloths and rivers and so on. That's it. And because it cannot affect. It can affect only when we are conditioned, only when we have frailty, weakness inside us, doubt. And that's why never think I'm afraid of the city. It's only ask what is the city telling me about my conditioning and what am I meant to free myself from. Because that's our whole test, you see, when we say, letting the whole world die away in meditation or retreat, that's nice. But the world is not something out there, it's inside us. It's only triggered by the image of the so-called world outside. There is no world outside. There is no city. There is only the city of our thoughts. Traffic, highways, policemen, ambulances, the whole thing. And if this city inside dissolves, then there is no city outside. It's just one more relationship in which you don't need to react, but just listen. That's it. It becomes just one line with which you approach everything with the same spirit, with the same quality of mind. You can be in the deepest state of sacredness in the city. But start with the fear and listen to it. Start with where you are and just listen to it. Watch it. But don't react to it. So, what is the quality of our mind right now? Thank you so much.